Hurtling down a half-pipe, skiing upside down in midair, bagging 6 X Games medals. Those are, in fact, some of the easier things that Torin Yater-Wallace has braved in his short life.
Skiing's what saved my life, and it was my getaway as a kid.
Back from a career-threatening injury, an infection that took him to the brink of death, and family turmoil and near tragedy, he's primed for a podium finish in Pyeongchang. But as this 22-year-old knows more than most, anything can happen on the mountain and off.
It happens, it sucks, but you really just have to adapt into an older version of yourself at a young age.
His extraordinary life, the subject of a new documentary, Back to Life.
The first time that I saw him at X Games, one of the immediate questions in my mind was, why is this little kid riding like his life depends on it?
It did. A life of peaks.
He's the man. What happens when you're the man? You kick it with Obama and end up in a Pop-Tarts box.
And near-death troughs.
Or watch him die, literally, I can't even describe it.
Was that a conscious decision to kind of get all this out there?
More just wanting to tell a story that happens to be real life.
His life looks great on the surface, an easy smile, a ski-jumping girlfriend, an insane talent, raised here in the mountain town of Aspen, Colorado, well off. His dad was a wine dealer. So far, so bougie, but when Torin was 8...
I want people to see what our life was really like.
I was indicted.
We lost everything.
His dad was arrested, indicted, and pled guilty to mail fraud, wire fraud, and money laundering. He eventually served over 5 years in prison.
The feds just took my dad from my sister and I and my mom, and it was emotional, and it was a hard time to go through as a kid, you know, when you don't have that father figure in your life. It's difficult.
He just kept on skiing, free skiing, his escape.
Oh, yeah.
It's way more fun.
You start to float even 6 inches or a foot, you literally can die.
Torin deals with pressure in such an admirable way, I would say. He acts so calm and collected, but then when you watch him in the pipe, it's so intense and such high quality. And his passion for skiing is overwhelming, just thrives off of that every day.
His event, the super pipe.
The alley-oop double 9, that is such a difficult trick.
We first bumped into Torin at the top of the pipe during practice at last month's X Games in Aspen. Confident.
Always try to be.
He's chill, friendly, even though his life and the lives of his family have long depended on how good he is at this.
The first time I even made money at a national little contest, I made $2,000 when I was 12, and it went right to my parents' rent.
Torin's income kept us alive. That's how I survived.
There's the right side 1080 down into the bottom.
Aged 15, he became an X Games medalist, a silver. The pipe was making its Olympic debut at Sochi in 2014. Everything was on the up. But then this.
We get up really early, and I got up there and I skied one run through the half pipe. And was laying on the ground, just gasping for air. And they x-rayed me and they told me I had a collapsed lung. It was always just that thought of, why me?
There was much more, much worse to come.
My mom got diagnosed with cancer when I was going into the Olympic qualifying process for Sochi. She was in and out of the hospital, just in a horrible state.
He made it to Sochi, but understandably underperformed, way off the medals. Pyeongchang is a shot at redemption, and it's a miracle he's made it.
When you're near death, everyone comes to a very similar picture.
One morning in late 2015, Torin felt a little rough heading out to ski.
And he calls us, I can't breathe. I can't figure out how to breathe.
Before I knew it, I was being flown to a hospital in Salt Lake and was in medically induced paralysis.
Some imaging was done which finally showed that he had an infection in his liver. He had tubes in his liver, in his lungs, in his stomach, in his arteries, in his veins, in his airway.
He had an extremely rare, extremely dangerous strep infection. Doctors told his parents to prepare for the worst.
I'm really not okay. That's not just a broken bone or even a collapsed lung, you know. This is no joke. This is my organs. This is my insides.
It was a tough road to recovery.
I was sent home with a tube into my liver, and I was sent home with a tube into my gallbladder, draining fluid 24/7 for a month straight. But I was getting better.
Mere months later, having cheated death, Torin won X Games gold in Oslo, Norway.
That was special. It was really cool.
His life now laid bare and certainly not what it seemed on its shiny surface. He says his sport is also misunderstood.
It's much more of a routine than the general public thinks.
Right.
People target us as such extreme athletes. Everything is planned out and everything is routine, muscle memory. We've done this stuff a million times. I'm not just going and hucking my body and hoping I don't die, you know?
His mum is healthy again and his dad is out of prison.
In my eyes, he was still my hero and still the person that I looked up to, you know, and nothing has changed till this day. Like, I still love my dad to death.
And they're going to the Olympics.
Throughout all those things, you just come to have this sort of shield, I suppose. So in the back of my head, I'd like to think that I'm just always ready.
Maybe his parents can watch him win a medal. Maybe.
The standard is unprecedented. It's insane. Like, if you have the slightest bobble, I almost will just give up on the run and ski down because I just know it's not going to score high, and that's just how competitive the sport's gotten.
He's got a sore foot going into Pyeongchang. That's all just a sore foot.
Double rodeo 900.
And he did this at the X Games with that sore foot.
I absolutely think I would be an entirely different person if I hadn't had to go through all these things. Maybe it was meant to be this way.
I'm Nick Watt for Nightline in Aspen, Colorado.
And Back to Life is streaming on Red Bull TV starting March 1st.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.